Elias grew up in a quiet town by the Rhine River, a place where time seemed to move slowly. The streets were paved with cobblestones. The houses had wooden beams and red-tiled roofs, and church bells rang every afternoon like clockwork. Life was simple there. People worked, prayed, and rested. But for Elias, the town was more than ordinary. It was where he first discovered the colors that would shape his life. While the other children chased balls in the town square, Elias preferred to sit quietly with a stub of charcoal. He would sketch whatever caught his eye: a sparrow pecking at crumbs, the lines of an old woman's hands, or the way sunlight filtered through tree branches. His drawings were messy, uneven, sometimes almost childlike, but they were alive. There was a pulse in them, a glimpse of how deeply he noticed the world. His parents were practical people. They carved furniture, repaired tools, and lived off small earnings at the local market. They loved Elias, but their love came with worry. Elias, his father often said, "Painting won't fill your stomach. You need to learn a steady trade." His mother added gently, "Dreams are beautiful, but a trade keeps you safe." Elias never argued, but deep down, he knew their advice couldn't change what burned inside him. Every time he saw paintings in the dusty old bookstore at the end of the street, he felt something awaken. The faces in those portraits seemed to speak to him. The landscapes whispered of places far beyond his small town. He wanted more. He wanted to step into that world. By his teenage years, Elias carried a quiet conviction. He could not stay in the town forever. His dreams had a name, and that name was Paris. The city called to him through books and travelers' tales. A place where art lived in every corner, where painters debated in cafes, and where great masters filled galleries with their work. His parents tried to stop him. They reminded him of the risk, of how many dreamers returned home defeated. But Elias could not silence the pull in his heart. At 18, he packed a small suitcase, tucked his worn sketchbook under his arm, and boarded a train to Paris. The city dazzled him. The streets were alive with light and sound. The Seine glittered under stone bridges, and everywhere he turned, he saw art. In galleries, in shop windows, even in young painters sketching along the riverbanks. To Elias, it felt like paradise. But soon, reality broke through the dream. At the Academy of Fine Arts, Elias discovered just how small he was in a sea of talent. Students around him painted breathtaking portraits in days, landscapes so vivid they seemed to breathe. Their skill was effortless, their confidence unshakable. Elias, in contrast, labored for weeks over canvases, his colors turning muddy, his lines unsure. "Your work looks like a child's," one classmate mocked. "Maybe art isn't your path," another said with a smirk. Elias flushed with shame. He carried his unfinished canvases out of class, walking the Paris streets until night fell, wondering if he had made a mistake leaving home. Maybe his parents were right. Maybe he was chasing something he would never reach. The more he compared himself to others, the heavier his doubts became. He tore up sketches, abandoned canvases, and began to dread the very thing he once loved most. When he looked at the Seine at night, the city lights no longer inspired him. They seemed to mock him, each reflection reminding him of how far he was from shining himself. And yet, beneath all the fear, a small part of him still remembered the boy by the Rhine. The boy who sketched sparrows, not to impress anyone, but simply because he loved to see the world in lines and shades. That memory lingered like a faint flame, waiting for the moment it would be needed most.